This is the Oddball Show, a podcasting collaboration from JP Line Productions and Oddball Magazine.
Good evening, all you travelers of both time and space. This is indeed the Oddball Show. My name is Prof, Galactic Helmsman for this strange vessel, and I represent that Boston hip-hop titan that is JP Line Productions. Thanks for being here for the final show of 2016 as we look back at a tumultuous year that included some serious socio-political activity and activism, a historic presidential election, and many diverse and talented guests who have generously given their time here at the Oddball Show. So for Father Time, Baby New Year, and all our Oddball friends, join us as we wish a don't let the door hit you on the ass on the way out goodbye to 2016. We never liked you anyway. Yes.
See ya.
Oh, yeah.
Before we get going, allow me to introduce once again you, our listeners, to our fellow Oddballs. Coming to us live from the mean streets of Norton, or perhaps the dunes of Neptune, he's the founder and editor-in-chief of Oddball Magazine, and the author of the weekly Jagged Thoughts column, which you'll hear tonight. Say hello to Mr. Jason Wright.
Hey, everybody. Jason Wright here, and welcoming you to the final and the last podcast of our lives of 2016. It's been a shitty year, Prof. Scholar.
It's been not
year.
just a shitty year. I think that's a we're gonna dig into this.
Maybe it's not been a shitty year,
but there's a lot that's happened.
A lot, way too much.
An action-packed and not always positive. You know,
I can't
we're
think
gonna dig
of
into
a lot
this
of
in a second.
positive things that happened, except for the premiere of Facebook Live, but even that wasn't very positive.
Well, that changed the world, man. That shit's crazy.
I mean, let's get into this. Let's talk to Ivan first.
All right.
Honestly, what good happened out of 2016?
That's going to be our question of the night. That's what we're going to try to reach by the end of the show. The good
Except for all the
things.
people who've been on the podcast, of course. But
Well, yes, it's been a great year for the Oddball Show.
it really has.
All right, so
Also-
in absentia this evening is our elder statesman, the potent pimp of poetry, the man who says Naz. Please wish a Merry Christmas Kwanzaa to Chad Parento.
Merry Christmas, Hanukkah.
Yeah, it was a tough one. I tried to get it out in the first go, and
But you did.
yeah,
You did.
we're missing Mr. Chad. Good evening to you, good sir, and you're missed here at the show. But I hope all is well as we approach the holiday season for you.
Merry Christmas, Mr. Chad Printo.
Hey, speaking of Chad, right quick, did anybody catch the Kurt Schilling business on his Facebook feed this week?
Yeah, it's like,
Someone
please
said he
tell me
looked
I don't
like
look like
Kurt
Kurt Schilling.
But he kind of does, though.
He
He
does.
kind of does. Look at the split screen.
I think it's
Homeboy
so
looks
funny.
like Kurt Schilling.
I think it's so funny when you come across one of those, you're like, oh my God, you kind of look like this person. Especially when it's like a cartoon character. You're like, oh wow, I don't know how you look like, Sideshow Bob, but you do. Wow, is that possible?
Well, Kurt Schilling is kind of a cartoon character, actually.
Kurt Schilling is a rat fuck.
It's funny because like Kurt Schilling's
Him
one
and
of
his
these
buddy Stock.
like really right conservative kind of asshole douchebag type characters, and then Chad's like the exact opposite. He's like liberal, you know what I'm saying? And carefree, and it's just like they look exactly alike.
Chad
I'll start calling Chad Bloody Sock. That's my 2017 nickname for Chad.
After the election, Chad changed his Facebook to black and has just left it. He's in mourning since the election.
That's
I
awesome.
think you should go with the Kurt Schilling doppelganger for 2017.
I think it'd be good, man. It's gonna be a good persona for him.
If I were Chad Parento, I'd be at every Fenway game. I'd be at every charity.
Just trying to
event.
get on camera, man.
But no one likes him though.
Take my picture.
Why would you want to be like Kurt Schilling?
Doesn't matter, just get
I kind
attention.
of like Chad.
I meant Kurt Schilling.
In any event.
In any event, that other voice you're hearing, beaming in from the rugged hills of Rosendale, he's one of the three celestial bodies in the JP Lime syzygy, the creator of the Rap Flashback, the December edition of which is available now for your viewing pleasure at jplimeproductions.com. Please welcome Scholar.
Yes, y'all. What's up?
Hey, buddy.
Happy holidays and a happy new year to everybody. Of the three celestial bodies that make up the JP Line universe there, I am the only one with an actual celestial last name, De Jesus.
De
Just the
Jesus.
proof. And I spit it in the booth all the time. What's up, everybody? What up, Limesters? What up, Oddball Nation?
Yo.
Greetings. And the other shout out we want to make sure that we do here in our intro is that intro music that you hear is a interlude from our Blue Star Boulevard album called Resurrection. Good thing I'm not in like an audio format where people need to understand what I'm saying.
From that group I'm a part of, J Plime.
But is a interlude called Resurrection from our album Blue Star Boulevard, all of which was produced by our good friend and Boston super awesome hip hop producer, DJ LSP. So we want to make sure we give a shout out to him for some, not only an awesome interlude here, an awesome intro song here for us at the podcast, but great work with us at JP Line Productions for a long time. So go check him out. We're going to put his SoundCloud up in our pertinent links tonight, and for all shows going forward. So definitely go check him out. I know that he's getting ready to put out some new music. So especially MCs looking for a producer to work with and looking for a taste of something a little bit different, please go check him out. DJ LSP.
Dude,
Shout out to LSP.
It's so dope. It's such a great beat to listen to every time that we play the song. It's just so great. I love it.
And LSP, for that matter, is also he's a big part of the JP Lime entity, and he's a big contributing voice to the Rap Flashback. So the monthly Rap Flashback that we talked about in the intro, it's Scala's creation that we shoot every month, is a hip hop history lesson, and LSP has a real deep knowledge of a lot of stuff. So that vibe that when we're shooting it on a Saturday is a big part of it is LSP. So shout out to him indeed.
I've actually went to a couple of your tapings, and I've waxed poetic with LSP before, and he knows his hip hop like up and down.
He knows his hip hop, and he knows his music. He's a real deep fan of music, and I guess you kind of have to be, or you are, and that's part of why you become a producer. But it's one of my favorite things to do is sit and listen to him. Like I learn everything, something from him every time I hang out with him. So
yeah,
shout out to LSP.
Shout out LSP.
So we're here at the end of 2016, which has, we said in the pre-show, we were using adjectives such as it's been a shitty year, which in a lot of ways it has. It's been a lot of negative energy or dark side energy kind of. But by the end of the show, we're going to come up with the things that have been good about 2016 and what we're looking forward to in 2017 based on that. But I don't know. I don't know where we want to, what event or piece we want to dig into for 2016. But one of the recurring themes, we mentioned this in pre-show, is the loss of icons. We lost a lot of people this year, and it seems like that at the end of every year that you feel like you lose a lot of celebrities but cultural heroes in a lot of ways. But this year, it's been distinct. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, is there somebody who sticks out first? I mean, I can imagine some of the biggest ones that stick out for you guys. And I'm gonna, in a minute, I'll rattle off a little list because it's kind of surprising. But who are the biggest ones that stick out to you guys?
Oh my God! Well,
like the first one.
Well, big one is Leonard Cohen for me.
Yeah, right.
Leonard Cohen has been an icon and idol of mine for so long. He only passed away like 3 weeks ago. He was 82 years old. He was battling cancer. And it was right after the election, so it was like a double blow. Like one,
double whammy.
Double whammy. This election really sucks, and two, I just lost one of my people I really look up to. So that was losing Leonard Cohen was big this year. Big.
Scala, who's top on your mind? Who comes to you?
To me, gun to my head, Prince. Prince is the one that sticks out the most to me, and that's with apologies if that if that's even appropriate for this kind of discussion, but with apologies to Muhammad Ali.
Yep. Muhammad Ali, come on.
Yeah, man. Yeah, the greatest of all time and the greatest of all time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So
like,
on that list, greatest of all time, on that music list, we just mentioned Leonard Cohen and Prince. In addition, we lost David Bowie.
That's huge.
We lost Phife Dawg.
Oh my God.
We lost Leon Russell. We lost both Keith Emerson and Greg Lake of Emerson, Lake and Palmer. Maurice White of Earth, Wind and Fire. George Martin, the Beatles producer.
Yeah.
Here's one that somehow I missed. I didn't realize that Sharon Jones died this year. I don't know if you guys know Sharon Jones and the Dap Kings, but she's a really awesome blues and soul singer that I don't know. She's a great story too, because I don't think she achieved success like around age 40, and I think she died at 60. So, her whole life was like, working as a starving artist to try to make it, and didn't make it until she was, old by entertainment standards. So I didn't realize that she died. And then Merle Haggard too.
Yep.
But a lot of big music stars. And then Scully, you just mentioned Muhammad Ali, but we lost Arnold Palmer this year.
Yeah.
He's a huge icon. Pat Summitt from University of Tennessee.
Yep. The legendary coach.
Craig Sagan.
Among the winningest, if not the most winningest, if not, the winningest of all time. Yeah, Craig Sagan, we were talking about in the pre-show. He just passed.
Who else on the I forgot about Kimbo Slice.
Kimbo Slice, yep.
Buddy
Ryan.
P. We lost P. We lost
Sean.
We lost Sean Price.
Oh, Sean Price, that's right. Wait, was that this year or last year?
I think it was this year.
I
guess.
But then, so the other ones on the sports one that I almost forgot about were Jose Fernandez and his fishing accident. So that was super tragic. And then Dave Mirra, the BMXer, I'm pretty sure his was suicide. I think. And then we also lost Gordie Howe and
Nate Thurman.
Yeah.
Dennis Green.
Just iconic people, really. And so the
you know who we lost, Prof? We lost the guy who was in Star Trek. And in Alpha Dog, he got ran over by a car or something.
Yeah, Anton Yelchin, the dude Chekhov from Star Trek. Yeah, we lost. A ton of actors. So here's the actor list. Let me just run this real quick. Alan Thicke, Alan Rickman, Florence Henderson, Gary Shandling, Zsa Zsa Gabor, which was like a couple days ago.
Yeah, Zsa Zsa Gabor, yeah.
Abe Vigoda, Gene Wilder.
Gene Wilder.
Let's see, Patty Duke, Tommy Ford from Martin. Bill Nunn, who's Radio Raheem and Do the Right Thing. Mm-hmm. And then like Doris Roberts, the mother on Everybody Loves Raymond. Robert Vaughn, who's a big 70s and 80s actor. Who were the other two that were kind of weird ones? Oh, all right. So here's two. Yuri Del Harris, who's Miss Cleo. She passed away this year. Miss Cleo, calling me now. Yeah. And then Kenny Baker, who played R2-D2. Who was inside Archie. He passed away this year. So that's a bunch of actors.
That's a lot of people. And America died.
America
died. America died.
I was joking, but we forgot Fidel. Fidel passed.
Yeah, well, that's the other. We didn't even get into the okay, so then there's another one.
Died, yeah.
So society and politics. We lost Nancy Reagan, Fidel Castro,
that's right.
both Janet Reno and Antonin Scalia.
Janet Reno died this year?
Yeah, that was one that kind of I forgot a little bit about. And then we lost Gwen Ifill from PBS, and then Morley Safer, who's also a TV journalist from 60 Minutes. And then John Glenn died too. He was 90, so and he got to walk on the moon. So like I don't know, that one's not tragic. That's a heroic. Good for you, man. So some of these other ones too. There was a kind of a lot of cancer this year. There were a lot of people that got taken by long battles.
Oh wait, Lenny, Goldfinger, not Goldfinger, Motorhead, right?
That was this year.
Yeah.
Lemmy from
Motorhead.
God.
So many people, dude.
And then what was the other one? People died. John Glenn and Edgar Mitchell, both two astronauts we lost. And then who else? Other random ones. Elie Wiesel and Harper Lee, both novelists. And then Michael Cimino, director, Deer Hunter. I don't know. And I've passed through a bunch, but like, see some really iconic people. And I don't, a more superstitious person says, these things come in threes or it's a big wave of something. But like, I don't know. It's kind of a big year for that. And we're not quite done. Knock on wood, somebody could, we still have a week. And they're kind of, kind of going.
And nobody would be surprised,
right?
At this point, if it would sadly be fitting, very sadly, actually. Yeah, no, it's crazy. It's crazy shit that's going on this year.
So that's a pretty extensive list. So that's one of the underlying themes that has seemed to be all year. And it, like I remember just being in like Dunkin' Donuts or somewhere that you catch a TV off in the corner, you're like, oh my God, that person died today? That's crazy. But that was kind of an underlying theme. And then obviously there were big events and big even beyond just the election as an event, there was a lot going on in a socio-political kind of way that obviously everything that was behind the Black Lives Matter movement. There was a lot that went on with that the early part of this year. And in fact, the injustice protest, which we haven't gotten a chance to talk about or even read about at jplineproductions.com. But that's something you need to check out. That happened December 5th, and there's a whole set of social, activist events.
Standing Rock?
Well, yeah, and then Standing Rock. So, that has been going on all year, but got kicked up in April and then kicked up further in September when they started, we all saw pictures of them chasing people off with dogs and mercenaries. And then obviously there's still people there. It's still unsettled. There was a big victory when they got denied the easement, but it's not settled. So there's a lot of disagreement on some very stubborn sides, I think, and I'm certainly not innocent of that, and I don't feel like this next administration, no matter how no matter where you fall politically, I don't know that it's looking brighter in 2017.
No, it's looking like it looks the forecast is cloudy, definitely, with a chance of storms.
There should be a swing to it always. That just because I'm a liberal or a progressive doesn't mean that my ideas are always right. So when we swing back, it's kind of a balance. But right now, it's not really a balance. It's kind of how like a top at the end starts wobbling instead of being balanced. It just keeps wobbling further and further. I feel like that's what we're doing. Is kind of every swing, it's further and further out.
Yeah.
Kind of like the William Butler Yeats poem, "The Second Coming." The center won't hold. It just keeps getting wider and wider. But anyway, that's the bleak outlook for 2017.
I was gonna say 2017 doesn't look so bad, so dark, so devoid of hope to a lot of people.
That's true.
And a lot of people, just speaking of the election, but just in general, there are a lot of people in this country that don't feel this way, that are excited about the new presidency and the way the country is going. It's a very strange reality to live in because at the end of the day, it does seem like it's more extreme than it's ever been in my lifetime, as far as like that divide between the left and the right, to the point where obviously we know our history, and I'm only 36 years old. I know you guys are around the same age. Like 60, 70 years ago, in the larger, grander scheme of things, isn't that long ago. So we've spoken to and studied heavily about a time when it was worse than it is right now, as far as that, socio-political sphere and the country being divided, people being divided. But I think it's the worst it's ever been in our lifetimes. And And it's sobering to think. It's like, all right, well, it's this way because there are a lot of people out there that don't think like I do, and that don't feel the same things that I do, about certain events and certain, people, people's actions, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't know. I think it's important to acknowledge that, somebody thinks, we're headed in the right direction, and there are a lot of those people, and, until we can, understand why, and
Yep.
Hopefully, work to find commonalities. We're gonna stay divided. We're gonna be divided.
Yeah.
I think
it sucks.
it's an excellent point, and I think that one of the things that we feel right now, even beyond what we specifically disagree about in the political sphere, is that divisiveness. Civilian against civilian, citizen against citizen, like that. Not just I don't like where the president is doing or where he's going, but anger at each other, which is
right.
I don't know. Like I said, I'm not innocent of that. I'm certainly part of that, but it's hard to break away from in these kind of times. Like I'll tell you. But okay, so in light of that excellent point the scholar just made, can we all somehow play devil's advocate? And given that none of us are Trump voters, what is something that you think Trump might do well?
Here's something, if I can jump in. One thing about the election, in a weird way, and I don't like to talk politics a lot. I don't like to write politics a lot because the way people react to it bothers me too much. Like the negatives outweigh the positives, that type of deal. For myself, That said, like one of the things about the election that actually I felt myself coming around to and having this eerie uneasiness about it, was that in a way it kind of restored my faith in the democracy. For too long, too many people, and you read these things, you take them with a grain of salt, but there are a lot of people out there that feel that every election is rigged and it's predetermined and it's fucking, there's this big conspiracy people, conspiracy theorists, arguing that there are 5 people running the entire world and, we're pretty much yo-yos to them and puppets. And it's just like, in a weird way, it was like, all right, there are a lot of people in middle America, rural America, that don't think like I do. They came out in droves. They voted. That's how a democracy is supposed to work.
Yeah.
Now it sucks. It sucks that it's representative of a movement that is alarming at the very mildest. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to get into how I really feel about it, but at the very mildest, to me, it's alarming, if not outright sad. But this is the country we live in. This is what, we signed up for as Americans, or were born into as Americans, whatever. That's how a democracy is supposed to work. If there were 5 people running, that motherfucker wouldn't have won.
That's absolutely true. And I think the greater point you make is, restoring your faith in a democracy, that is how stuff is supposed to happen. And, in some sense, I guess that makes us more honest than we were in the past. And, it forces us into a brighter light that, this is really what people, a majority of people, or not a majority, but
right,
but
a
representational majority,
exactly,
wanted this to happen. So so in that sense, it also shows that character in ourselves and makes us face it, which is
exactly, which is sobering. It's a sobering thing, but it's just like, again, that's what we're born into as Americans. If I, to play devil's advocate a little more, I think, and the way media spin shit, it's just like, you always focus on like the bad part of the Black Lives Matter movement, where the radicalists are going out there and, like picking fights with cops and shit like that and saying pigs die. Or you focused on like the really extreme part of the Trump movement, these racists that are out there like using the N-word and, you know what I'm saying, kicking like
writing graffiti in the school.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I got
but that's not representative of either movement. There are a lot of Trump supporters that pretty much we're just, and hey, we can feel however we feel about this. Pretty much we're just like, hey, we're sick of these Washington political types running the country. We want we want an outsider in there to shake things up. And they, and I think him being a billionaire in the eyes of that, that mindset, the people with that mindset helped. He's a quote unquote successful businessman, whatever that means to them. Everybody's got a different, opinion of how successful Trump actually is as a businessman, whatever. At the end of the day, I think, and of course the peaceful Black Lives Matter, the Black Lives Matter movement, that's pure and true, where it's just like, hey, we're not trying to fucking, like pick fights and call for anybody's deaths, but we don't want to be killed and fucking killed unjustly, and people get away with that shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's those two angles right there are mostly the most representative of the people within those movements. I think in our world, the way it is, we push on, we focus on report and really internalize the extremes to the point where, it stalls us. But to bring the Trump issue full circle for me, it's just like, all right, he is an outsider. He's in there. I don't like really what he stands for or what he said, but what if he does have a point on some of these trade, international trade issues that to me were the only talking points he made that actually connected with me? What if we are in some bad tariff trades and in some bad, you know what I'm saying? Deals internationally, and he can, at least or he can get people to look at that and make it so it's more beneficial for the American workers. Would that be completely hypocritical of him, given that he has businesses overseas? Absolutely. But if he has a point and there's progress to be made there, I can understand people voting for that.
Yeah.
If that's what your world is. If that's what your world is. You know what I'm saying? If your world isn't what it is to a lot of us, certainly in New England, but I think just a lot of the more bigger cities across the country where we see the overt racism and the systematic racism and the opportunities that others that some have and others don't, the playing field not being level. When we see that all the time, that's what we become. That's what motivates us. That's what drives us. That's what we react to. Versus a lot of other people in this country that they don't really see that. Yeah. They see a completely different way. I don't know what they see, but it ain't that.
And a lot of them want us to stop talking about it because they don't see it.
Exactly. But a lot of us don't want to. My biggest fear throughout the entire election was that the liberal movement was getting too cocky to the point where it was going to come and bite us in the ass. And I think that's what happened. I don't think that's entirely what happened, but I think that's true to some extent, where too many liberals were out there just exerting their intellectual privilege, I guess, or dominance, or however you want to say. But hey, I'm brighter than you. I have a broader view of the world than you. You guys aren't going to win. You're voting for an idiot. Yada yada yada. And it doesn't work that way. I think when you do that, you fall into, you shoot yourself in the foot. You shoot yourself in the foot.
I think it's a very salient move. That makes it. I think they did, and I think I don't know. They not just the cockiness of the expectation to win, but there's a cockiness within the neoliberal movement now that we know the right way, and we are just wake up and catch up. And a lot of ways,
and it goes beyond intelligence. It's like a moral thing too, and it's just like I get it. Because I feel it, but what makes the neoliberal movement, or however you want to stratify it, what makes that the moral high ground?
Yeah, I mean, what makes us so sure?
Right. Exactly.
I mean, and one of the things that does help us do that, or it makes us think that we have the high ground, is that we're, as liberals, what people call identity politics. The politics of fighting for not the underprivileged, but minorities or other groups that are somehow persecuted, or trying to create equal rights and create equal situations all the time. That's what people call identity politics, and what they say identifies the liberal movement now. But that to me is an automatic. That does provide a moral high ground. So I think people take that too far and to become too justified in it, to the point of not being able to see a different point of view. I think that's
and not just not being able to see it, but to belittle it, and to undermine it. And no, that's why Trump is president. You know what I mean? That to me, Yep. I know it's a lot more complex than that, but when I think about it, it's just I saw it coming, man. I really did. Like a year ago, I remember joking to somebody about it, hey, Trump might win. Oh, you're kidding me, blah blah blah. It's he might just sweep through the Republican, at least the GOP, and that we agreed upon, whoever I was talking to. He might actually come out of the GOP. There's no way he'll ever be president. And I'm thinking to myself, there's a lot of people in the middle of this country that he's striking a chord with at the time, a year ago, and it was just that simple. He's striking a chord with them. I didn't think it would actually platoon into what it did, but it kind of makes sense to me. Makes sense to me.
It makes sense to me too. In fact, Amanda and I talked about it. I don't know,
especially on the heels of the Obama presidency.
I mean, there were a lot of people that really, and that's what I'm talking about the swing further and further in each direction. I don't know. I'm not a big supporter of Hillary. I definitely voted for her, and I would have been critical, but saw a president that I thought was working for people. I'm not a big supporter. I have a lot of problems with her, but I would have seen
or if
a president in
had
her.
Experience.
Yeah, a lot of experience, and to me, the drive. She, despite her, money, our fundraising issues, and why that's all very secretive and very, very it's dirty, in a way. She is a hardworking person fighting for children and families for her entire career. That is a fact. So, that's somebody that I could have gotten behind as a president, even though I have some serious problems with
It
it.
seemed like a no-brainer. It seemed like a no-brainer.
I voted for
that to
Jason
happen.
Wright. For the record. I voted for Jason Wright, yeah.
You did the write-in.
Yeah. I voted for Oddball, baby.
You know what's so crazy is there was such a different me and George. You were out you were out campaigning for the number 4 to pass but me and Prof and George Panagopoulos were on election day, and it was such a lighter podcast, and we were having so much fun. And then the next day, it was like doomsday.
Yep, I mean, and it was. It's the same.
And then this happened.
Yeah, exactly. That's the new Hail of the Chief right there. Everyone is so petrified of what could happen in the new year, and I do want to touch on some of the guests that we had this year, so we can maybe go on to a brighter note of what happened in 2016. But let me ask you two this: what can we do as a people, as a nation, to make 2017 a better place for all of us?
Prof, I'm gonna let you start, and then just let me know.
Well, okay, so let's do a quick pickup on what Scholar was saying before. The divisiveness is, to me, the most visceral thing we can feel right now, even beyond political disagreements and like my deep worry about that man being in charge of our country. Beyond that, we can feel that divisiveness between us as a people. So we saw a lot of conversation going on social media. Not all of it was very cordial.
No.
And the fake news sites were one tip of the iceberg, but it's that willingness to you're not looking for truth, you're not looking for facts, you're looking for drama, you're looking to furtively assert your side. And I think that's something that we as a people on any side should actively look to let go of, and can, that it's achievable to have more beneficial, more respectful conversations, because that's really what we need to do. The thing we need is a positive middle ground. So every one of us can work to have more, work to have conversations with people who do not agree with you, but do it respectfully. You need to do it. Talking to people that agree with you will not make any of us progress any further, because we'll just become more shored up in our own echo chambers. But talking to people who disagree is not always easy, especially if they're that far across the aisle. But that's really what needs to happen, and it needs to happen on a citizen level, even before it happens on a elected official level.
Yep. I think it's really interesting, and I'm not going to go on too much of a tangent, but I'm looking at. I watched yesterday's season finale of South Park, and it was about the idea of getting a do-over. That the internet, if the internet didn't exist, or that it was erased, and that we could start over in 2017 with a new internet, with all of our internet activities erased, and all of our the hatred and the ill will against everyone and trolls and everything that's terrible about the internet, if it was just erased, and a new do-over in 2017 where it was really funny, like the email, the last 2 minutes of South Park you have to watch. Really funny. But the idea of just, I'm gonna say in 2017, starting anew, internet civility, have respect for people on the internet. I think that's a good way of starting 2017 in the right light. I mean,
and we should be having passionate discussions. We need to be an active citizenry. Right now, there's a lot to be concerned about, to be thinking about in both our own country and around the world. So you should be active. You should be voicing opinions. You shouldn't be backing down from that stance. But you should also keep in mind the thing that Scholar was saying before, that just because people think differently than you does not mean A, that they're wrong automatically, and B, you are blinding yourself by not trying to see any part of you are doing yourself a disservice. And
It
all
doesn't
of us.
mean they're less intelligent. It doesn't mean they're less moral necessarily. There's always going to be variance, but you can't approach every discussion that way. Like you're right. Like I've got the intellectual and moral high ground. No, you don't.
Right.
Because Trump is president. No, you don't.
And because you're a person, you don't know, and you're always going to know more tomorrow. So remember that. So what do you think, Scholar? What what about something different beyond being civil to your fellow civilians?
I think you both make excellent points. Chris, you're absolutely right. You know what I mean? We need to have discussions, and however uncomfortable that may be, that's the only way it's going to progress. Jason, I think it's a hard movement to even conceive in this day and age, with people on the internet just being a bunch of douchebag pussies so often. You know what I'm saying? But I agree.
Douchebag pussies.
I think if people, I think if people were more civil and approached their internet, social media interaction in general, along those same lines of what Chris is talking about, like don't just go out there and troll and be a dick all the time. You know what I mean? Like actually try to learn from some of these, differences of opinions. I think that would also benefit, the world, not just the country. To me, it's this simple. Leave Kanye alone. Leave Kanye alone. That's all we need to do in 2017. The world will right itself. The second people turn and started fucking Kanye, Trump's president now. You know what I'm saying? All these celebrities have died. All these iconic figures have died. Like the only good thing that came out of 2016, and obviously I say this jokingly, is legal weed in Massachusetts and every other place that passed it. You know what I'm saying? And again, I'm half joking, but beyond that, I'm telling you, we'll leave Kanye the fuck alone. Everything will right itself out.
Leave Kanye alone.
I can't really think of one good thing that happened in 2016, except for all the guests that we've had on the program.
So there you go.
None
of them bothered Kanye, by the way. So think
not a single one.
Actually, if we were to go back through tape of our show, there's been many times where I've brought up Kanye on the show to people saying that he's an asshole, to saying I don't like Kanye. Even when I actually, Scholar, you and Mars were on the program once, and I still think about this. Life of Pablo had just come out, and I was talking about how great Kanye West's punchlines were, and you both were like, his punchlines aren't that great. So yeah, we need to leave Kanye alone.
No, but that's a fair criticism. That's not me being like, oh well, the Kardashians ruined him, and he's going, he's turning.
It's an artistic critique.
No, his punchlines aren't that great. They're all right.
His punchlines are great.
Some are better than others. To me, Kanye is not a punchline MC. That's not his strength. You know what I mean? But no, that had no. I'm still. I mean, that's not me saying fuck Kanye or I'm not backing Kanye. That's just that's me. That's me, dude. I said Chuck D wasn't like that lyrical, and the motherfucker retweeted our shit. He retweeted that article because what I had to say about him was excellent. You know what I mean? You can be critical of these MCs.
Yeah, well, it's okay to be critical about MCs, but when someone uses the line "too many Urkels on your team," that's why your win's low. You got to respect that. And that's why I respect.
I respect it. It's a good line. That's a good line unto itself. You're not changing my mind in that Kanye's strengths aren't much.
I think Kanye's
not ludicrous.
Yeah. Okay. Huh? Ludicrous has punchlines.
That's what he is.
He's kind of like a punchline MC. Yeah. He was like him. Fabulous is another one. Yeah. Kanye's Kanye utilizes punchlines. Don't get me wrong, but to me, his strength as an MC is he makes you feel something. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
when Kanye gets going, he really paints that picture, and boom, like, and obviously he's an artist, so he knows how to best complement his own music, and boom, art. It's awesome. You know what I'm saying?
Let's talk about that.
I'm talking about leave Kanye alone. Kanye's not going crazy. Kanye's not going crazy.
So go ahead. Kanye is going crazy. You want me to
finish, or you think he's going crazy? All right. I don't want to turn this into a cast about Kanye. Right. Aside from just saying it, I don't think he's going crazy. I think he'll be fine. He's just going through it. Okay. We all go through it sometime. Leave him the fuck alone. Trust me, it'll be a domino effect. The world will fix itself.
So there we go. Ivan gave us the first. Leave Kanye alone. Ivan gave us the first of many of awesome moments that we had at the Oddball show, and that would be top 5. We're gonna do the top 5, and top 5 for me. We're each gonna do one. Top 5 was Mars, Jupiter, and Ivan battling about Kanye on the Oddball show. Was one of the highlights of the podcast for me.
I'll take it, man. I'll battle anybody about
so
Kanye.
I love Kanye.
Yeah.
I love Kanye.
Yeah.
I love
we
Kanye.
can tell, bud. We can tell.
Yeah.
You know, I do. I think he's a great producer. I think he's a fantastic.
We know, man.
I got every Kanye album. I even got 808s. You know, and I mean, I think it's a good album. So I think he's a great producer. But top 5 out of our list of 5 was Ivan and Mars Jupiter earlier in the year, before all this bad shit was happening. Before Kanye
That's a
was
good
even
point.
in the
That
hospital.
discussion was before, like, he started spotting off on Jay-Z and
Yeah. We just Life of Pablo just came out, and I was like, Mars, what do you think of Kanye?
Touche.
And Ivan was like, and then I busted out my punchline, which I just did because I think it's great, and we got into the same conversation. So top 5 for me was every time I mentioned Kanye on the podcast, which was many times.
Oh yeah.
I mentioned
you mean how many times tonight?
Oh yeah. No, tonight I mentioned it just about as much times as I mentioned it this whole year.
In the whole season.
Almost every season, almost every episode, I was like, "So what you think of Kanye? Why are you hating on Kanye?" So maybe it's just because his name's fun to say. But,
I miss the old Kanye.
I miss. There's a really fun tweet that I miss the old Kanye. Does more than 3 shows, Kanye.
Oh boy.
All right, so here, let's move on from Mr. Kanye. There are 2 acts that I really, we had a lot of great guests on our show. We talked about a lot of different things, but 2 of mine that have stuck out, one very recently and one, a couple months ago, was Alyssa Marie, having her on the program. She was absolutely
amazing.
Excellent.
So nice.
Really got to talk to her about her craft and really dig into something that we don't always get to with artists on the show. How she goes about what she does, which is I think a very interesting. It's always interesting to me to hear that from somebody. So Alyssa Marie, I thought, was a great guest and
very intelligent MC.
Yeah. And some great opinions on hip hop itself.
She just mentioned I hung out with R.A. the Rugged Man the other day. Like, what?
Yeah, well, okay, so that's the other thing about her. Definitely go check her out. We'll put up, links again. But she's on the rise. She's really working hard at what she's doing and doing well for Boston proper, and then Massachusetts.
Definitely.
But somebody to keep an eye on as she blows up a little bit.
She just put out a new video for Sky's the Limit. You got to check that out. We'll throw that on the pertinent links at the end of the podcast. But Melissa Marie was definitely top 4. Number 4, one of the best. One of the best.
I wonder how we're gonna
get. You're gonna rank them as they come to you, huh?
So number 1 is gonna be
whatever you think of last.
Out of ideas. So, but the other act that of recent memory that really I love having them on, and it was good to reconnect with them, is Dark Matter.
It was great.
I like them a lot. They have a great sensibility to them. Obviously, awesome music that's hip hop with somehow a punk rock feel to it. And they obviously are doing we talked about their fundraiser for Standing Rock, but they have obviously very active on a socio-political level. So
you know what's really funny is that we didn't even talk to them about they didn't even bring up Standing Rock during the podcast. The next day they did this whole campaign and didn't even mention it. And it was
we just kind of got carried away in that discussion of talking to them. But it was not long after that Standing Rock got a lot more attention.
Yeah, they broke out a huge campaign, which is shout out to Dark Matter. Yeah. And I've been listening to that album more and more lately. It really is a very listenable album. From start to finish, from the first song "Alienated" to what was that song that Yadrazil?
Yadrazil, yeah,
dude, so dope. Definitely Dark Matter, top 3.
Top 3. Scarlett, you get something that sticks out to you from our season here on the Oddball Show?
No, absolutely, yeah. I'll echo Alyssa Marie. I thought one of my favorite parts of that cast was how she, she shouted us out as a cast for not using the term female MC, and just thinking back to you mentioning that during precast, Professor U, I thought that was a really great moment to me. I was just like, cool, you know what I mean? Like, I'm working with some people who actually know what the fuck they're talking about. That's comforting, you know what I'm saying?
Right on.
Yeah, and and shout outs to all our guests. I loved the Emilio cast. I loved working with Survival. Shout outs to Survival. Definitely, we've had him on a couple of times. He's doing a lot of good things out there in the Boston hip hop scene. But to me, if the one moment that stuck out was Memphis Jokes, that cast when we were talking about his coming up and kind of getting on Spit Digital, building that relationship with Chuck D, and him referencing, an article that we'd written and published at JP Line Production, a couple of years ago, pretty much just, reviewing Chelks' album at the time and bigging it up and saying positive things about it. So that him mentioning that as one of the reasons that he thinks contributed to Chuck D ultimately bringing him on board to Spit Digital just made me realize the power of our medium and our media and our words and our craft, and how that there's it's meaningful, like we're doing something that can affect change in a very positive way. So that was my favorite moment of the year. And shout outs to Memphis Joe, because he's doing a lot of positive things out there.
What was also great
in the Memphis hip hop scene, and
definitely
he's a veteran out there. It's fantastic. It was a fantastic moment for me. For the Oddball show.
I remember the Memphis Jokes podcast. That was a great guest to have on. I wasn't actually a part of that one because of, I think it was my anniversary or something was to the effect that I couldn't make it. But that was you guys really that was a great podcast to listen to. Then along that lines of great hip hop guests we had was Lewis M. Kicking it with that New Violence. Which, Lewis, if you're still listening, I still got to get that CD. You got to mail it to me so I can bump it in my car. But it was great to have him on the program. Remember when he was on there, and then the other one that I wanted to was when we did a live performance from Soul Soul. Do you guys remember that?
Yes, I was going to say Soul Soul and the DJs of Aratu. Those were two really good shows.
And also, we have to have him on the guest again. But Kofi Thomas was a lot of fun to have on the program.
It's true. You, our listeners, cannot have any idea what we're talking about because that podcast is not available to you because of technical difficulties. But Kofi will be coming back in 2017 to show. He's a great Boston comic, and a good friend of ours, and a fellow graduate of the One True School.
It was great because that was a great podcast, but it was really funny to listen to the 20 minutes before we went on because we somehow not Facebook Live, YouTube Live, it just changed over, and we basically recorded. Somehow we recorded ourselves in pre-show, and it was great because the conversation that we had pre-show was probably funnier than sometimes the shows that we have pre-show are so good that we write ourselves.
We should do a little outtake video. We should just not record that stuff and put up.
We have so much fun when we're acclimating ourselves to each guest. We have we get really into some awesome discussions. Another one that I want to shout out, which was a really cool podcast that he praised Prof for his interview style, was Not Art. Not
Art was great. I'm still following him obviously on Facebook and Instagram. I like what he's doing. It's really what am I trying to say? A really straightforward, like he's hitting a niche that makes a lot of sense to me, and works on that and keeps refining that. Some artists such as myself get scatterbrained sometimes, and he's really doing something very direct but interesting, and I don't know, it's a potent idea in and of itself, which I think is really cool.
You know what's great? Yeah, totally. You know what's great, Prof, about this show is that all these big guests, because we've had some pretty big guests. Not Art has been is kind of big in Boston. Alyssa Marie and all these guys afterwards say that we're just like, and dark matter to add to it, not to toot our horns or anything, but they say that our interview style and just our lax way of our podcast is a dope experience. So I mean, I got to say, shout out to us for that.
Yeah, I
And
mean, we're having a lot of fun and we're growing and changing with the podcast, but I think we're also doing a great job of choosing some guests that bring a lot of energy. You know, like we were just talking about in the pre-show, that when we start getting acclimated and you know, we know these guests, at least one of us does whenever we bring them on, but
Yep.
That pre-show, that energy is where you can really see that some of these people are excited to talk about their art and talk about, or you know, maybe not art, but you know, whatever movement or whatever it is that they're working on. That excitement and that energy is what really keeps the show going. So it's I think, a testament to some of the people that we brought on, their energy.
Prof, can you run down a list of who we've actually had on this year?
Well, we just talked about a lot of them.
People,
I don't have one in front of me, but we
shout out to Justin Off too. We had him on the program.
Yes, we had him on a couple times, and yeah, he was just on. So definitely check out his music videos that we put up on our pertinent links from that one. Yeah, we've had some great
MCs. We had Punji on three episodes.
Say that one more time.
Dende.
Sorry, Scarlett, say that one more time.
I was gonna say Liza Sayas,
Yes.
Dende, and DJ Christina. Yeah,
Yep.
you mentioned Neorato, but you know them specifically, and DJ Savuth, I believe.
Yeah, DJ Savuth,
yeah, I mean, so we've had some great. You know, we obviously JP Lime are hip hop based, so part of the podcast here is the combination of hip hop and poetry. But we also had other musicians of different, different genres. That there's a universality to talking about music and about art.
Music's universal. You know, we had Punji on. We had John Punjatori on for 3 episodes. Remember 3 episodes of Punji?
And he had a lot to say about movies, you know, and about and working on movies. You know, so that
Lucci and Mars.
Yep.
Lucci and Mars. Yep. We had Lucci and Mars. Lucci was great. Lucci's a fun guest to have on the program. He's always interesting. I think he did our first episode of the year was about safe spaces and internet cyberbullying. I remember because we were gonna let's try a new format where we actually talk about stuff. And I remember he was like, I was like, well, what are we going to talk about? He's like, well, let's talk about cyberbullying. So he came on and he was like, cyberbullying is totally terrible. We can't do it anymore. And then he went into this great, I listened to this one a couple times because this was our new format. And Lucci also read, I think he read his poem, My Name is Lucci, which is always enjoyable. So, that was always a fun podcast. So, I mean, if we were to run down the list, Prof, we had about 20 I don't know how many guests we had. We had a lot.
Yeah,
we had a lot.
We had some really talented and some really diverse guests that we can't thank enough for their time and for their willingness to talk and dig in a little bit to what it is that they do.
It was also fun to have Chad. You know, I mean, Chad's the best, and that was when we coined the Chad. The man who said Naz, remember?
We've had some great hashtags.
I wish we had a list of all the hashtags we had. I know.
We'll just compile them all in one tweet. It won't make any sense at all, but it'll just be a whole bunch of like punchlines and unreferenced things from throughout our season. It'll be a great tweet.
Dude,
it'll be the greatest, most glorious tweet. You've never seen such a beautiful tweet.
in our post-production, we should do a whole. We should have all the music we've had on this program this year, all the awesome hashtags we've had on this program this year.
Yeah, I mean, so we'll put up some links to especially some of the highlights we were just talking about. But definitely go check out past episodes of the Oddball Show. You can find us on YouTube. Search for JP9 Productions on YouTube. That's where the site is feeding through right now. From that YouTube feed, it goes to Oddball Magazine and jplineproductions.com. So check it out live there. It also goes to our Facebook site and our Twitter, all simultaneously. So definitely check out some past episodes. In addition, we're also on SoundCloud and iTunes. So that's where you can check out the whole season.
And Stitcher, Prof.
And Stitcher. I always keep forgetting about Stitcher, which is obviously, a really big format to be on for podcasts. So definitely SoundCloud, iTunes, and Stitcher. Come check us out and check out past episodes from a pretty awesome 2016 here at the Oddball Show. We had a really good time, and we're just getting started. Really, we're building and changing, and refining all the time. So we really do appreciate your support and your tuning in. So it makes it worthwhile.
Also, it was a good year for JP Lime and Oddball Magazine in general. On my end, we started a publishing company, and we grew the podcast, and we grew a significant amount this year with the Oddball Magazine and the creating the this year I've been doing a lot of books. I've been publishing a lot of books, so expect to hear and see more of that in 2017.
We're really excited. I'm really excited for Oddball Publishing. I think that's going to be a exciting new enterprise.
Yeah,
really do.
Yeah. Got 2 books coming out in January.
On our end of the site, it's been a great year for us. We have refined JPL Magazine. Last year, we turned our site from JP Lime Productions as a general site, general home base, into JPL Magazine. Your World with a crunchy hip hop center. So we write a lot about a lot of different things at the site. But we've had a pretty good year for material. There's been a lot of movements to talk about. I really enjoyed talking about Standing Rock, and
that was a good one.
And diving into that. We talked a little bit on the podcast about the new media and new reporting media as opposed to mainstream media. Standing Rock was a big thing. Was a big example of that for me. So that was a lot of fun to write about. And there's all year long, there's been important things to talk about. So it's nice to have a platform to do it, and it's nice to hear, to get feedback and to have a conversation in that kind of way.
And your rap flashback segments have really grown this year too.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for bringing it up. That's just where I was about to go, is that, our monthly rap flashback segment going strong. And we're going to do a little bit of switching up. Actually, here's what I want to do in just a moment. I want to talk about what you guys are thinking about for 2017, but we'll segue this way, that on the rap flashback end, and we'll throw it over to Scholar in just a second, we're going to be doing a little switching up in 2017. We don't want to talk too many specifics, but always looking to keep it fresh. Recently, we started the Flash Forward segment, and we're going to be changing up the look a little bit in 2017. So, Scully, you want to talk about some of the things that you've been excited about before we move to the future?
Looking back, I think the Oddball show is in a better place. I think it's in a more consistent place than it had been the year prior. So that's definitely promising. I agree with you that there's a lot going on, at JP Lime or in society, in the world, in our political world, socio-political world, etc., sports world, even to write about at jplimeproductions.com. And I think we've done a pretty good job of covering a lot of those, those moments that have happened over the past. I'm excited, or I was excited to kind of expand on the rap flashback written as a written piece, and utilize more of the research that we've done for the 2.5 years of shooting now that we've done on the rap flashback. Utilize a lot of that research that you can't really use all of it when you're filming a 7 to 12 minute webisode every month. So I've been I've been happy with seeing more rap flashback material go up in the written form, and being able to actually use a lot of that material that kind of gets swept under the rugs for time purposes when we're filming. I'm excited about filming more of the flashback next year. With the new look, a new set. I really want to make this the year that we record the intro, re-record the intro, and get some new media and some new footage for the intro, but also record a dedicated track for the rap flashback, which we'll use in the intro. And with the new, again, not to jump too far forward, logistics still need to work out, but with the new set that we plan on moving to at some point first quarter next year, I think that's going to give us a lot more filming flexibility to do some really fun things where you might see some more performance based, improv based, and even some dance, silly type stuff that we don't do a lot of now. to some extent for logistical purposes. It's the set is what it is. It's more of a news based thing, which is what we wanted when we started. But I think we're in a place now where the flashback itself has grown to the point where we're realizing that it doesn't just have to be kind of a a news format, and we can do some really fun things with it. So I'm looking forward to that. I mean, on a personal end, it was a big year for me as far as finishing up my schooling, my MBA, and going on vacation, getting engaged on vacation.
Yeah!
You know what I'm saying? Exactly.
Yeah, we shouted you out
So,
when that happened, but this has been the first time we've gotten to talk about it on the air. Congratulations.
Yeah, man. We spent some time out in Vegas, and we got engaged out there, and shout outs to Jess, my fiance, love you. But with all that going on, it's but what I was working towards was it's been a very busy year for me, and I've been able to to kind of stay afloat and contribute and involve in ways to as far as these mediums, the podcast, the blog site, the blogging on JPL magazine, and the filming. But now that things are kind of starting to fall into place for me, I'm looking forward to just having more time to go out there and meet more people, connect with more people, and do some more fun things on these sites. The web redesign hopefully is something that we can get done in 2017. So give the website like a whole new feel, a sleeker feel,
sir.
Just make it more interactive, more conducive to the multimedia entity that we've become. And who knows, like maybe at some point even get back in the studio and start recording some music. So so those are things I'm looking forward to in 2017. And every day it's its own struggle. Who knows how much of it is going to be realistic. There's a lot of planning I've got to do on my end now for the next phase of my life, the wedding and starting a family. But I feel like I'm in a better place now to really move forward on all that, and just really just really leave a mark. I'm very proud of the flashback. I will say that, even though to some extent we had to take a back seat for a little while this year, just logistic and time purposes. I'm very proud to say that we've got really 2 years of 2 years and growing of footage that we've put out there for anybody who's a hip hop enthusiast. For people, I mentioned earlier, I don't write a lot about politics. I don't write a lot about the gossipy shit that goes on day to day in media, whether it's hip hop or entertainment in general, or even politics, because the way that people react just pisses me off, and it is what it is. But what I do really enjoy and have a passion for is that old school hip hop, and hip hop in general, because the flash forward segment is not necessarily an old school segment, but just recapping some of the current stuff that has gone on in the past month or so that strikes a chord with us. I like being able to do that stuff, and that's where I feel I do have an innovative and worthwhile perspective that's not necessarily a broad one to bring to the culture and via those media. So I'm proud that we have on top of all the blogs that we have out there, and on top of all the music that we have out there, and we got some more coming. I know Professor's been working on some stuff for us. I'm particularly proud on my end of the rap flashback webisodes, however many we've grown to, right? We're approaching 30, if not surpassed it, because that's all hip hop, that's all history, that's all stuff that's passionate, that I'm passionate about, and it's there forever. It's there forever. You know what I mean? It's there forever, and that's awesome. That feels great to me, and I want to I just want to make that as impactful and as big as humanly possible.
And I think you're finding an audience, but like a market out there, people who who agree, old school heads, people that are into it and into talking about it and learning about it, or whatever.
And there's appreciation for it. I mean, we spoke about Jacoby earlier, Memphis Jokes. That was me writing about Chuck D's album, him coming across it and saying, hey, check out my music. We both like Chuck D. There's a space for it, and there's an appreciation for it, even as far as something I want to do next year on the flashback. Tweets is watching, like I've done that on social media, where people retweet me or follow me, and it's these people that I was 8 years old listening to on my headphones, just wilding out. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's MC Ran or Chuck D, or some random folks, Mo Vaughn, great Red Sox slugger, followed me. You know what I mean? Sometime last month, we've gotten retweets from Salt and Pepper. So I think Pepper in particular. Slick Rick, I believe at one point, one of the EPMD cats. Like, there's an appreciation for what we're doing amongst that community. That, you know what I'm saying? I love the youngins doing the hip hop right now, and I support them. Some of it is trash, some of it is very good. I love what's going on now. Hip hop's always been about the young people doing it, but hip hop's in a place now where there's an old crowd. There's a very old crowd for it, and what we're doing strikes a chord with them, and that to me is awesome because those are the people that made me fall in love with hip hop.
Right on.
Oh yeah,
well
definitely.
said.
Well said.
So
Well said.
on our end, Scholar did just mention this. Coming up at the very beginning of 2017, we are going to have a brand new look at our home base there at jplineproductions.com. A little more interactive, give you a little more of our media up close and personal, give you a little more, just a little more of the Lime style right in your face. So definitely check us out at the beginning of 2017 for a brand new look. And in addition, the other thing he just mentioned,
It's gonna be gnomes and strippers and Skittles.
Gnomes and strippers and Skittles and probably
Exactly.
Marshawn Lynch, because he's the thing that ties all those together.
I agree.
But in addition, Scott did just mention that my Professor Strange Volume 1 is going to drop at the very beginning of 2017. So you'll start to see a little bit about that on Facebook and Twitter. I'll be doing a little bit of teasing here at the end of the year and then as we approach the new year. But Professor Strange, my first solo project, and it's my comic book alter ego, is going to drop in the beginning of 2017. So definitely come and check that out. We'll talk about that a little bit here on the podcast, but that'll be one of the things you'll see right after we launch the new look on JPL Magazine. So,
So Dr. Normal's your villain, right?
he's very boring. He has an office job. He sits in a cubicle and he's very angry. But yeah, I'm really excited about 2017 for both the podcast here and for us at jplineproductions.com. In spite of what we were saying, this is what we were trying to get to at the beginning of the cast, or by the end of the cast, in spite of some of the darkness and some of the divisiveness and some of the angst that we feel coming out of 2016, there is a lot of newness and a lot of exciting enterprise for us to all be looking forward to in 2017. So I don't know. I don't feel doom and gloom. I'm worried, but I know there's a lot of road to travel, and it's.
I agree.
Buckle up and strap on your boots, baby. It's gonna be fun.
That's right. It's not gonna be a smooth sailing. You need some boots.
Interesting.
You're gonna need a life jacket.
All right, so we're coming down to the end of the Oddball show here for the night. We want to do a couple things. Want to make sure that you come check us out on all our social media. We are at JP Lime and at Oddball Magazine on Twitter and Instagram. We are at JP Lime Productions on Facebook and at the Oddball Show, or at Oddball Show on Facebook. Yep. You can find me at Dr. Prof Esquire on both both Twitter and Instagrams, and Scholar and what's your name again? I forget who you are. Jason, right?
George Panachronopoulos.
At Man the Storm and at Scholar_JPL.
Yes, y'all. You can find me at Oddball Magazine on Instagram. Say what's up. We're pretty heavy on Instagram right now. So
you can find me in the club.
The Oddball Show is a collaboration between JP Lime Productions and Oddball Magazine. Jason Wright is the editor-in-chief, as I mentioned, of Oddball Magazine. He's also the author of Jagged Thoughts column every week. So in just a moment, he's going to close out the show with a pretty epic poem for us about Christmas time. But before we do, I was wondering if you guys wanted to do a little list of 10.
Ooh.
Yes, let's do it.
All right. So I was thinking we do it the same way we did Dark Matter. We'll just kind of alternate back and forth.
Yeah,
or you guys both want to answer each?
Sounds good.
All right, so yeah, let's alternate.
That's fine.
Let's alternate back and forth. Scholar and Jason Wright, are you ready for the list of 10?
The list of 10.
All right, so start with Scholar. Scholar, number 1.
Yes, y'all.
What time and place would you like to be if not here and now?
I would have to say In-N-Out Burger.
I love In-N-Out Burger.
I'm hungry, and I want an
That shit is
In-N-Out Burger,
delicious.
and they're not available out here.
Why
That
is it?
aside from getting engaged in the Grand Canyon and the Cirque du Soleil, Michael Jackson, that was the highlight of my Vegas trip.
Is it
Getting
an
out
out
To an
burger?
In-N-Out Burger. Oh, so delicious.
I
So
laugh,
delicious.
but it really is something else, man. It's a whole different
It's
kind
the
of burger.
holidays, man. I get fat during the holidays, like fatter, I should say.
Yeah.
Like I just
Fat
want
bear.
to eat. Like I thought about jogging today, and I was like, nah.
I was like, nah, I'm on vacation, man.
Exactly. I'll deal with that shit.
I'll give you one thing, man. The West Coast, man, Carl's Jr. and
Fat burger.
Fat Burger and In-N-Out Burger. Or, oh my God, Carl's Jr. and In-N-Out.
I know
I
what
even
they're
had Jack
doing.
in the Box once. It was all right.
Yeah, man.
It was all right.
I've had
Their
it twice
breakfast
in my
was
life.
good. Their breakfast was good. Real good, actually. Best.
Yeah.
Never mind. I got on a tangent.
Brought to you by In-N-Out Burger. Number
So good. So good.
Mr.
get
Jason
that.
Wright. Number
Yeah.
2, what is the greatest advice you've ever received?
Oh, you know what? I'm gonna say it wasn't. I'm gonna say Tupac once told me in a song. He said, "Through every bright day, through every dark night, there's a bright day after that. Remember that." And I think that's very, very true. To think that, and also, Kurt Cobain said to me directly that, the day is fading, but I still have a light. Those kind of ideas that put. And then another person said, all of my inspiration comes from hip hop. Puff out your chest and handle your business. That kind of stuff, like just perseverance, blueprint, like all this kind of stuff that people. That I don't know if anyone ever told me directly, but what I've listened to, what music I've listened to, has told me to persevere through the most difficult shit that I've ever had to live through. So far, anyway.
Persevere.
Definitely. Yeah, I said perseverance. But yeah, I always think of keep your head up. Tupac, keep your head up. I think that's always important. One of the greatest things about hip hop music, I think, is just the perseverance and at least some of the music is so uplifting and so empowering. There's a song by Evidence called "To Be Determined." That is, he says through every flower needs rain shower like it needs sunshine. And when I think of that line, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Every flower needs rain shower like it needs sunshine. Yeah.
Right on, man.
Yeah. All that stuff.
All of
Hip-hop
that.
raised me.
That's the greatest advice I've ever received. All that stuff. Persevere, man. Scholar, number 3. What would your superpower be?
My superpower. Going out with no money and having a fucking blast. Like if I could go out with no money and just come home like I just dropped, $600, that would be my superpower.
Right on.
So being thrifty and nifty.
Basically. Just being a G, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just be out and not pay for shit, and everybody's gonna be okay with it.
Like a G6.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
That's
man.
a jet.
Number 4. Jason?
Yeah.
Biggie or Tupac?
Oh my God. I got the Biggie and Tupac question. All right. I'm going to say both were very monumental to hip hop. Biggie had bars, Tupac had heart. But Biggie had heart and Tupac had bars. So really it is a conundrum within itself. So I plead the fifth on that question.
Oh, man, what a cop-out.
All right, fine.
Plead
Tupac.
the fifth.
I'm going to say Tupac. And I'll tell you why. I love Biggie, all right? I love Biggie. I love his bars. I think he had a great lyrical flow. I just think there was something about Tupac's life, the way he lived it. Although some people might say he brought the gangster life to hip hop, which is might be negative to the culture. His
I
music.
wouldn't say that.
Well, Blueprint said it in one of his podcasts, which I was like, that is kind of interesting. If you think about it, he was the first one to rep gang life and with thug life and all that kind of stuff, and being openly West Coast and everything like that. So I know it's
first.
I know it's
Yeah, he wasn't the first.
I know
But
it's controversial to think that, but he brought gangster mainstream. Well,
It's
you should listen to this
factually
podcast.
Incorrect.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
No. I could get into it. I respect that man. I've read. He. For me, Tupac was the first. I mean, I listened to Big Pop, and stuff like that. But the first song that really grabbed me was "Keep Your Head Up." Hearing that his support for women. And I know, like, his life was kind of a paradox and stuff, and some of it was like, his life was so, life imitated art, and art imitated life in ways. But I think he was really a true hip hop soul that was unbelievable. Biggie had bars, but Tupac had heart.
There you go. All right, so number 5, Scala.
Yep.
Who is your favorite person?
My favorite person has to be my fiance.
Has to be.
Yep. yeah.
It's got to be now, man.
Yeah,
she's not far away from me. She has to.
Every word in that sentence had purpose. It was
Well
deliberate.
said.
Mm-hmm.
Jason, number 6.
Yes.
What is your quest?
My quest. Oh, that's a tough one. I think more and more about the futility of life, and I want to really just like embrace life because I know it's fleeting, and I think about how every moment it could be just taken away from you. So I think my quest is to begin to live comfortably in my own skin and start to excel because I got skills. I got some poetry, rhyming skills, and stuff. And I think my quest is to publish and be known as a poet, or at least a writer in my time. I think that's my quest, to be known as a poet and a writer in my time.
There you go.
Yeah.
I would say mission accomplished, but okay.
Oh well.
Quest.
I certainly don't know you as a construction worker. Like the dude who gets me my coffee at Dunkies, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, you very well may be, just not how
Oh man,
You are world-renowned poet Jason Wright to me.
Number 7, Scala. Fill in the
Yeah.
blank. All you need is blank.
To leave Kanye the fuck alone. That's it.
That's good, man.
I miss the
That's a
old
callback.
Kanye. More than 3 songs, Kanye.
Jason, number 8.
Yeah.
Rock,
Right.
paper, or scissors?
Paper.
Paper.
I'll tell you why. As a writer, you can't write with
I'll ask you
scissors
why.
and you can't write with rock. That's you got to write with paper.
All right. As a writer.
As a writer, as a writer, you can't rock with scissors.
Yeah, see, you said as a writer, and that as the guy who gets you your coffee at Dunkin',
Well,
you gotta say scissors because
As your local nurse, I have to go with rock.
Can I say
You're
more?
not a nurse.
Can I say more cowbell?
No, that is not one of the options. Although I think that would probably beat all 4, right?
Yeah.
I mean, all 3. There's only 3.
More cowbell.
Rock, paper, scissors, cherry bomb, and cowbell.
Yeah. I got a fever. I need more rock.
And the only prescription is these scissors right here. Number 9, Scala. What do you want to be when you grow up?
a motherfucking hustler. You better ask
That's somebody.
There you go.
Yeah.
Because real gangsters.
By the way, this
don't
was not
run fast.
rehearsed.
That was
This was all on the level off the dome.
that may have been one of the best answers we've had to that question all season.
May have.
Motherfucker, you stupid. I want to go
We'll have
to
to check the
the
tape, but that's a GS answer.
There you
All right, number 10,
I want to
Jason.
be an outlaw.
You don't get to be.
that's a
You don't get to
callback.
be one. Number 10.
Me
if
against the
heaven
world,
ex-
prof.
if heaven exists, what would you like to hear St. Peter say when you reach the pearly gates?
Are you the one I've been hearing about doing all those awesome poetry with no? You know what I would probably I want to say. Oh man, tough time getting here, but you did it.
Your arms must be tired.
Oh, 37. Who knew? No, I'm just kidding.
Get me a medium ice regular.
I'll have some fun with my latte.
And a French cruller.
Yes, sir.
So,
and that is the list of 10.
The list of 10.
Folks, this is the Oddball Show. We're having a lot of fun here. And we went a little long tonight. It was nice to review the year and nice to stretch it out a little bit.
We definitely went long, brother.
Stretch.
Just a little bit. But please come check out all our past episodes. Like I said, you can find us at YouTube, SoundCloud, iTunes, Stitcher, and then all as well on our social media networks. It's been a great season. We really do appreciate you tuning in, and we appreciate your feedback. Like I said, we're only getting started, and we're going to be growing in 2017. So please come back and find us in January.
Yes.
Yes, y'all.
We'll be here, brother.
Church.
Come check us out on our social media networks. Come find us at jplineproductions.com and oddballmagazine.com. This is a collaboration between the two, the dopest poetry on the Eastern Seaboard and your world with a crunchy hip-hop center. Jason's going to take us out in just a moment with, like I said, a pretty epic Jagged Thoughts. But before we do,
epic.
Fellas, any closing thoughts before we get there?
I told you, man, leave Kanye alone. That's it. Leave Kanye alone. Everybody will be better. He'll get better. All of us will get better. The world will get better. You know what I'm saying? Just leave Kanye alone. That's the problem. That's it.
Church.
Yeah.
We're pulling for you, man.
Yeah, I want
Scholar is anyway.
I want Kanye to get better. I want him to drop a new album that's as dope as Life of Pablo was.
I want
TurboGrafx 64. It's coming. It's coming. I'm telling you. They just named Kanye the MTV. They do it every year. They name the top 10 hottest MCs, and the hottest gets lost on everybody. It's like, no, Tupac's been dead for 20 years. Whatever's been, you know what I'm saying? Like, hottest right now, popping.
He's pretty damn cold.
Yeah, but Kanye was number one. People were hating. I'm just like, nah, Kanye. I mean, who did what Kanye did this year, man? Despite all the bullshit, like, dude dropped probably the best rap album of the year, top 5 at worst.
That album's fantastic.
Pablo was fantastic. He was always in the news, albeit for not always the most, positives, or I don't even want to say positive, the most enticing reasons.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? Like there was not one month of the year that went by that ain't have a Kanyeism. Or some, you know what I'm saying, some place where he was out there doing something and everybody was talking about him for whatever the fucking reason was. So, TurboGrafx 64, he'll drop it next year. I think he can go back to back.
Dude, Kanye played in my house, I think he can go back to back. In my Spotify 2016 playlist, it's all Kanye. Like my you know how they give you a year-end playlist?
It shouldn't be all Kanye, but yeah.
A lot of it was Kanye.
He didn't run 2016. He did very well in 2016.
Life of Pablo was a killer album, definitely.
Fantastic. Just leave Kanye alone. That's all I got to say. On that note, I actually have to hop off, fellas. My favorite person needs me.
Right on. Scholar, thanks for being here tonight, brother. We really do appreciate it. And thanks for being one of the oddballs, man.
Hey, happy holidays. Yes, happy holidays. Happy New Year to everybody. We'll be back in 2017. And it's going to be on and popping. Peace.
Peace out, Scholar.
Yes.
All right. So, Mr. Wright, you want to take us out with a little jagged thoughts for the people?
Okay.
So my name is Prof, and I am from JP Line Productions. Please come check us out. And thank you all very much. I sincerely appreciate it. I've had a lot of fun this year. And I'm looking forward to growing with it. So I personally sincerely appreciate it. And go out and love somebody, man. Go be civil to your fellow civilians.
Yes.
That's what I'm aiming to do in 2017.
Prof, you gotta. Prof, it's been, on a personal note, Prof, it's been a great year with you and the Oddball Show. It's been great being partners with JP Lime And yeah, I think the Oddball show has been an awesome thing for us this year. If anything bright happened this year, it was definitely the emergence of the Oddball show in the interwebs. I think it's been a great year for us.
They were waiting for us, man. They were waiting for us.
So let's make bigger change next year, man. We got the platform. All right. So, Prof, thanks again for being part of this whole venture that we do. It's just a lot of fun.
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay. Well, everybody, strap yourself in. This is kind of a long poem, but it's I wrote it about 6 or 7 years ago, for one of my nephews, and it really means a lot to me. I want to put it and make it a book. It's a poem that I write every Christmas season. It just kind of it's called "The Lonely Boy on Christmas." It's a long one, but it follows a story. So I'd like to take you all out with this poem. Have a happy and healthy 2017. Let's wish for a peaceful world. Because, like in my poem, if more people wish on the same star, then miracles happen. So this is my gift to you, The Lonely Boy on Christmas. There once was a town, it seemed, that was always cold. Even when it was warm, it still was always cold. The people were mean, the people weren't green, the people weren't clean. They all forgot their dreams and no one could sleep. Not even sheep could make them dream. They all had forgot their meaning and what it meant to be free. They lived their lives as shadows. They lived in poor man castles. Some were drunk and staggered, and some were slaves in shackles. They all had forgotten what once was their motto: to live in darkness you can never cast a shadow, and in the darkness shadows never follow. And when the light shines from the sun in the seasons, whether frostbitten hands or those wearing mittens, the sun always shined on the ones who asked for wisdom, and one did, the lonely boy on Christmas. And this lonely boy just wanted one thing for Christmas: a dog or a kitten wrapped up with a ribbon, a bright blue ribbon. If he had a dog, he could pet him with his mittens and watch him chase pigeons and play fetch with the children. But it never happened. No gifts were given to him on this Christmas or any Christmas. There he sat in the town of castles and shadows, where the cold seemed to sting everyone and everything. And he began to reminisce of his family's last Christmas, the last time he was given a kiss on his head, and that warm feeling he had, and the last words ever said by his dad: "You must live by yourself. We can no longer take care of you." And he said to them, "I'm just a boy. What do you expect me to do?" But his father and mother, they didn't love one another, and they didn't really mean to say what they said. So one day they both got into their cars and left. But before they left, they both kissed him both on the cheek and said, "I'm sorry, son, that we have to leave. Here are the keys. This is your very own castle. And never leave. Always stay in the shadows. We will always be with you, but we must leave, and we hope for your forgiveness." And then they had left, the lonely boy on Christmas. At the same time, there was a young widow who always sat by the window with a sad glow, waiting for her husband to come home. He and her also lived in this world, the world that was mentioned in chapter 1, a world of no fun, where no one could smile in fear of being stung because the cold was too cold and some were too poor to buy coats. And besides, the castles were hidden by shadows and moats, protected by ghosts, but still there was hope that her love would come home. And every day she wrote from a journal that was given to her from her husband, who had disappeared in the cold of the winter, and made her from married and happy to a way too young widower. Her name was Rosaline, and she was only 18 when she found the man of her dreams. But one day he left to go to the store and was never seen anymore. And people had said that he had gone missing in the cold storm on a frosty Thanksgiving. And they stopped searching after a few weeks because no one could survive out in the cold on those peaks. But Rosaline never stopped looking out that window till one day it started to snow. And then it suddenly stopped. And out from the sky stopped. Before I tell you how the angel dropped and why the snow stopped, we must go back to the spot where the boy sat patiently waiting for the day when his family would come back, and how all he wanted was that dog for Christmas. A little dog wrapped up with a bright blue ribbon, but really gifts were not on his wish list, just a little slice of happiness outside of all that darkness. That day the boy decided to leave. He said to himself, "I'm going to get a tree." So he left his castle and stepped out of the shadows and headed to the forest outside of the meadow, and began a long walk out of the darkness and into an even darker forest. He could have went left and went towards the shore. He decided to go north and ventured forth towards the forest and the trees and the bright north star. He knew little of where he was, but it was better than where he would be. And besides, it was Christmas. He wanted a tree. Before he left, he dressed in his warmest clothes, hat and coat and scarf to protect his nose, and the only possession he had with him was a backpack of provisions and a compass and a map. And off he went and took his first step out of the darkness, while in that same town a widower wept. Chapter 4. Oh, where did he go? Got lost in the snow. She sang to herself while she sat by the window. Oh, where did he go, and when will he return to give me his love I so desperately yearn? She repeated these lines like she was hypnotized, the saddest moment in a beautiful life. She was only 23 when he said goodbye and went out into that cold November winter and was never seen alive. But keep faith, good reader, a good love never dies. Oh, where did he go? When will he return? Why did you leave me? It wasn't your turn. She sang this song in mourning. She sang it still morning, and that was when she realized that her eyes were not blind, and in her heart she believed he was alive. At the same time, she sang by her window in that empty house. The compass was pointing, telling the boy to go south, but the map said that the meadow was the way to go, but his heart told him to follow the star, and into the dark he ventured into the deep forest where the trees lied therein. Chapter 5. Well, dear reader, you must be weary of me, so let me tell you how the boy found his tree, and also a brand new family. It starts where we left with the boy's lonely trek and ends, well, we're not quite there yet. So the boy began his climb into that deep forest while the angel sang to him this simple chorus: Follow the star, son, follow the star. Follow the star, son, follow the star. Yes, the boy was lonely and scared for sure, but in his head and heart he was strong and secure. People would leave him for that, he was sure, but never his family. That scar was the worst, and his head began to hurt. But before the tears started to fall, he took a step, and all of a sudden he was not by himself. And while he was down and thinking about life, he somehow had wandered onto the thinnest of ice. Chapter 6. Oh, reader, oh me, oh my, what did this boy do on that thinnest of ice? He walked, oh, so carefully, and he could hear the ice creak, and then there was a crack in the ice he could see. He thought to himself, dang, if I wasn't thinking about all my problems, I might have seen this coming, and I could have been doing something instead of being stuck where I am, and then something happened. The ice cracked and splintered and cracked and splintered and cracked, and the ice fell underneath his feet, and the boy was suddenly over his head, and while under the coldest degrees, he began to see Christmas wasn't about getting presents or trees. It was about being happy. He was under the water, gasping for air, trying desperately to be freed from a horrible death indeed. Then at this moment, a hand reached out to him, and now enters the man, Jim, the widower's husband. Chapter 7. Hey, kid, can you hear me? Grab my hand. Hey, kid, can you hear me? Grab my arm, I'll pull you in. That was the voice of the widower's husband. All the boy could hear was a muffled sound, but the arm and tried desperately to get out. He grabbed the strange hand that had come from above, and Jim pulled him out with the strongest of tugs. Jim pulled the boy off of the ice and made sure that he was all right. Can you hear me, kid? Can you hear me? But the boy was barely breathing, cold and shivering. What could be done to save the lonely boy on Christmas? Jim started a fire with some sticks around him and hoped and prayed that something could heal him. But as the fire grew stronger, soon the boy breathed in and looked into the eyes of the man that saved him. And at this very moment, the widower was sleeping and dreaming what seemed to be the same thing. It was about a boy who fell on a dark night on the thinnest of ice, and her husband was surely alive and saved this boy's life. The widower hadn't left her house since her husband had disappeared, but she had to leave. Her heart was telling her so, that she had to go out of the darkness and back into that snow. And as she left, she took a deep breath, and that was when she realized for the first time herself that the darkness she lived in, this town of castles and shadows, there were more places to see, like the place in her dream. She visioned a stream lit up by a bright star, and there she ventured out into the dark, and there she sang, "My heart tells me to follow my dreams, and I will sing this song until he hears me." So she began singing, "My heart tells me to follow my dreams, and I will sing till my angel hears me." And just like that, the star lit up the whole place. And though they were far apart, she could see his face. By the place in her dream, right by the stream, where she would find her Jim, and where she found, well, me. Chapter 9. Yes, dear readers, I was the lonely boy on Christmas, but now that I have grown, I am no longer alone. My family, Rosaline, and my father, Jim, we live outside of the darkness where the shadows live. And though you must find your own way and sometimes follow that dream to get the biggest tree or PlayStation 3, all you really need is a good family and maybe a dog, like the dog that I have. But really, in the end, a mom and a dad and people that love you and a belief that the right star will shine above you. So there you have it. Merry Christmas to all of you and all of yours. May love and light unlock all your doors. And that was the 6th annual reading of The Lonely Boy on Christmas from Jason Wright from Oddball magazine. So yeah, that was it, guys. Merry Christmas to all of you. Happy holidays. Feliz Navidad. Season's greetings. Thanks for listening to the Oddball Show. It's been a great year. We love you all, and we'll see you all sometime soon. Be good to each other, love one another, and peace. We're all family. Good night, everyone, and see you in 2017. And that was the Oddball Show, y'all. Peace. We'll see you in 2017.
This is the Oddball Show, a podcasting collaboration from JP Live Productions and Oddball magazine.